Welcome to DK Champ. I want to go over some of the stacks that you can play for the slate for week 8. And these stacks for this week look pretty good, and I'm struggling to pick out which one I like the most. The matchups just seem to be falling in the right spot, and with that, I like to look at the defenses that are struggling a little bit. So I'll go down to the defenses and look, and you look, Tampa Bay is one of the cheaper defenses. Denver is one of the cheap defenses. Cleveland, Jets, Raiders. So looking at those, the majority of your better stacks are going to come in those games with the opposing team. So let's go back and I'll show you some of my favorite ones. I think probably the most popular stack, if people can afford it, is going to be Mahomes, and with him is going to be Hill. And then I think people are going to play running back. They'll play Hunt. So that'll be a really popular stack. You'll see that quite a bit, but it only leaves you with 45 left in the tank to get a lot of positions here. So that's going to be a tough matchup, tough to compete with everybody on that one. So you could go with luck, save you a little bit of money, and then roll down. And when we're going with luck, we're going to be looking for T.Y. Hilton. That'll be a very popular stack, and also you could throw in Ebron instead of your running back, and then that would free you up a little bit with a running back. So that's another popular stack that you will see. So one of my favorites is going to be Dalton and Green. And I think this is going to be, it's an expensive stack, but you could throw these two guys together. And if you really wanted to make it interesting and really go all out with this stack, then you could go with the tight end here. But, you know, this is a goal line situation only. Depending on how the game flows, this may be a very risky pick, but it is a possibility. So looking at this stack, that could be a pretty good stack as well. Another one that I like in this group, I'm telling you, this is the craziest week as far as stacks are concerned because there's just so many options, and this really leaves the table open because a lot of people play with the stacks in mind. So they're going to play these games because they see that they can get points from both players when they score, and it's a very popular way to play. So the next one is going to be Travinsky, and we're going to pair him with Cohen. And you can look, Cohen has really turned it on here the past few weeks. He's flown under the radar. He's getting a ton of targets. This is my favorite stack. I'll definitely be playing a lineup of this because he's getting a few rushes plus several targets a game now. It's taken him a while to get started, but he's been on it. So the receiver matchup I'm not very fond of. I just don't see the value. Travinsky spreads the ball so well that you are going to have a hard time figuring out who he's going to throw it to. So I would stay away from this altogether and just hope that he does well with Cohen. Tight end, you could go to Burton, but Burton's hit or miss. He's getting a few targets here and there. Anyway, he's getting a lot of targets last week, but the weeks prior to that was just a few, but he usually catches what's thrown to him. So you can risk that. With the gameplay, with the Jets, I think Burton's usage will go down quite a bit. But with this group, you could play Cleveland's tight end, and then you can never go wrong with Kelsey. It's tight end as well. So depending, you could actually throw him into the stack with the other Kansas City players too, but that's going to really throw you over the edge money-wise. So, you know, Jared Cook's probably a decent option against Indianapolis. They give up a lot of points to tight ends, so that might be a possibility. He'll be in a few of my lineups. So the next stack is going to be one that has really hurt people in the past, and I've seen a lot. We'll come back to that. Baker Mayfield, I've seen not very much about this matchup, but if you go with Mayfield, Landry, and then the tight end, this could be a potential stack where you could really throw some other key guys in. And like just looking at this, I may make a lineup out of this just to show you like how easy this could be. But I like David Johnson. I think Arizona is going to get up and they're going to continue to run the ball at San Francisco. So that's a good opportunity there. And then another really good pick for this week, in my opinion, and I wouldn't want to stack this, but Kirk. This could be a really good game for him. The matchup's there. It's just going to be if he can get the ball, but the relationship between the quarterback receiver has been trending up. So this is going to be a decent little chunk here. Now this lineup, I'm going to throw this as this is going to be a hard GPP lineup, but Isaiah's going to be getting an up kick. So this is going to be a really good person to play in your GPPs. I wouldn't risk it in my cash lineups, but I'm going to throw him in here today in this one. Defense, I'm going to roll with the Bengals at Tampa Bay. And that leaves me 75 to go. So the receivers that we talked about, I like Hilton, and I really like A.J. Green. I think this is going to be a matchup for him, so I'm going to throw A.J. Green in there. And then hopefully this leaves me enough for you-know-who. Kareem Hunt has been on fire, and I really like him in this matchup as well. Denver has been giving up a ton of points to running backs. So, and he had 30 the first go-round. So this is what I'm going to roll with for a lineup, and it just excited me to see this. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this one. But another option for you is going to be, I'll kind of go through some of the people that I like. If you're not trying to do a stack, the guys I've already mentioned, Mahomes, Luck's a strong one, Dalton, Travinsky, Mayfield, and the biggest stack I think that people are talking about right now is going to be Stafford. I don't like it, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to be using that. So backs, pretty much the guys that I've already mentioned are the ones that I like. Gurley, obviously, Barkley, Connor should have a good game. Hunt, David Johnson, Cohen. I really like those guys a lot. So we'll move back and go to receiver. You know I like Kirk already. I like Tyreek Hill if you can afford him. I like Landry. I like Hilton. John Brown has been very impressive, but I don't know how he'll do. It depends on what the matchup's looking like with Carolina and who they're going to put on him. But that could go either way. And that's pretty much the receivers that I like in this group. Jordy Nelson should come back and have a decent game, but you never know. He's been so hit or miss. I wouldn't risk it too much with him. All right. And tight ends, my favorite pick is going to be Kelsey. I like Cook. Ebron if you roll with that stack. Trey Burton if you roll with that stack. And then Cleveland, of course. Ingram would be a value pick if you are trying to be risky and really want to see what's going on. Defenses, I really like the Cardinals in this position. San Francisco is terrible, and that should be a pretty good one. The one to stay away from, I don't think the Colts are going to be able to shut out Oakland or be able to do a whole lot with Oakland. I think Oakland's going to win that game, so I think that's a bad pick. Chicago against the Jets, that could potentially be a really good one if you can afford it at 41. So I like Cincinnati at Tampa Bay as well. So these are pretty much the picks that I like for the week. If you like what I'm saying, then make sure you subscribe and make sure that you are commenting and hitting the like button for me. And if you don't like the lineups, please leave in the comments what your suggestions would be. And I'm always interested to see other people's opinions. I've talked to a lot of people about this slate, and some people agree with me 100%, and some people think I'm crazy. So it just depends on how you approach it and what your thoughts are. And I'm always curious to hear what other people have to say about it. So thank you all so much for watching, and good luck this week.